Okay, warm welcome. So, it's been quite a week slash month slash year of being a human being for all of us. I haven't checked in with all of you this week, but it's been for some reason a rough week for me. And um, my process is to like feel things and then try to figure out why I'm feeling things. So, a little bit of backstory is that last week I had done this workshop on, as a participant, on creating safer spaces in a racialized wellness world. And sometimes I know when I learn things or I'm confronted with things, it stirs something up that makes me feel uncomfortable. So I have that in my back pocket, and I've been riding the wave of feeling this like call to add an element of social change into yoga, which has been um, a hot topic in my yoga feed. So I'm reading this book by Michelle Johnson called Skill in Action. And it helped to put a lot of things into perspective for me this specific week. So I'm going to share that with you. And I'm excited about that because I feel like I get tired of listening to my own voice, but it's actually listening to the sound of my own thoughts coming out of my mouth. So it feels better when I read someone else's things. So get set up, please, in a heart bench or a lung bench, whatever feels better to you. And if you don't have two blocks, you can always improvise by using like a rolled up blanket under the tips of your shoulder blades and a pillow under your head. And if you don't have anything that fits the bill at all, do not fret. Just lie down on your back and send your arms wide, just so that you have this hint, this invitation of like chest opening, which is energetically meaningful for what I'm about to read you, but it's also like physically balancing the way we all spend our days like this. So go ahead and get set up. Take your time. And if anything isn't feeling right, like if you've arrived in a position that you've been in hundreds of times before and you're like, this just isn't doing it for me today, make any intuitive adjustments that make a lot of sense for you because we are constantly changing. And then connect to your breath. You don't have to put any effort into anything other than just being and breathing right now. And I'm going to read to you from Michelle Johnson's book called Skill and Action. And this is from a passage with the title, The Role of Feelings. She says, emotions override thoughts every time. The practice of yoga beckons us to notice our feelings. It invites one into a practice of quieting the mind enough to feel the most subtle emotions and sensations. Yoga allows us to connect with the energy body, our spirit, and to move from the most dense outer layer, our skin, to the deepest inner layer, our soul or Atma. Dominant culture values intellect over emotion, rational thought over feelings. Our culture conditions us to notice what is going on from the head up and not from the throat and heart down. The only way out is through, by way of feelings. If we are going to make social change, we need to cultivate a practice of feeling. If someone could think us out of the social injustice that we are swimming in, a very smart someone would have done so by now. When one connects with their feelings, as yoga teaches us to do, they can connect with their heart. If one is connected with their heart, they have the opportunity to be changed and to shift their perspective. They have the opportunity to feel the pain of living in a world that is designed to break the spirit through violence, oppression, and injustice. Feeling the pain individually, and more importantly, collectively, allows for us to grieve, to acknowledge, and truth tell, and to aspire to be better than the legacy that white supremacy has left us. As you lie, with your heart supported. The invitation is to like swim in the murky waters between thinking and feeling. This is my invitation to you. Right? What effect your feelings have on your thought, and what effect your thoughts have on your feelings. And there's no right answer. It's not a static moment in time. It's just an observation. And then for a moment, just shift your awareness to the effect that your thoughts and your feelings, this interplay kind of tug of war or harmony, um, what effect that has on your breath. If you can possibly override any loop or replay or stagnation with a deeper inhalation or a softer exhalation. Maybe there's parts of you that are asking to release. Maybe there's parts of you that are asking to engage. Just respond to the whim of your spirit self, right? Your Atma. And we'll just be here for a few more breaths. And when I say that, um, the parentheses is always, I'm going to start offering something else. If you feel called to stay as you are in this shape or any other shape throughout practice, please do so. Please. Without a sense of rush, without a sense of urgency, begin to bend the knees, put your feet on the floor if they aren't already. Roll off your blocks and onto your favorite side. Just curl up into a held fetal position. And your own time and your own way, make your way to a seated position, please, with your right shin in front of your left shin. You can keep your eyes closed the whole time if that feels okay. And then snuggle your sitting bones down into the ground. Really anchor to your base of support and reach the crown of your head up towards the sky, like this invitation to continue growing, expanding. Let your breath be full. Let your inhalation match your exhalation. The next time you exhale, let your shoulder, let your right ear drop over towards your right shoulder and just feel a left neck stretch. Notice how you can kind of change sensation with a very subtle drawing down action of your left shoulder. Let your chin drag through center so it passes through the notch of your throat, and then drag the left ear over towards the left shoulder. Same thing, feel that opening in the right neck. You can let the chin kind of rock right and left at a pace that feels totally right for you. Just breathing and moving at the same time, feeling, thinking, noticing for yourself the more powerful, the most powerful of all of the forces that act upon us all the time. And then make the addition of the next movement very subtle. Perhaps as your right ear's leaning over towards your right shoulder, let your chest kind of reach towards your right knee, circle the chest through center over towards the left. So you're making like a big circle with your upper body. And there's no right or wrong amount of movement to happen here. So let it feel really organic and delicious in the low back, the side body. And you can keep making those circles. The next invitation is to reach your heart through center and then tent up on fingertips. So reach the arms out in front of you. Two, well, unlimited options here, right? If you're still making circles and that serves you, go right ahead. If you're feeling like something static will serve you, let your elbows come down, let your head come down. If you want to keep moving, tent up on fingertips. Think about cat cow here. Reach your chest forward through the windows of your arms and then push the fingertips down as you round the back, like glue the sits bones down. So either spine rounding, hip opening, or some dynamic action of cat and cow right here. We'll take 2 more breaths. And the next time you're rounding into your back, roll all the way up, bring your hands to your sides, maybe behind you. Lean back a little bit. Bring your right knee into the sole of the left foot so you have like a 90-90 situation. And then walk your hands over to the left. So you're all the way off your right sits bone, lean your heart up and forward like cow spine. And then glue your right sits bone back to the mat. Walk your hands over to the right. Think about cow or cat. Think about cat. And then you can do that another time or another two times, excuse me. So cow with hands to the left, cat with the hands to the right. The next time your hands walk over to the left hand stays down, right arm sweeps overhead like a side body stretch. And then switch sides, right hand to the right, left arm reaches overhead, feels very different side to side for me. Hands come to heart center, please. Push up to stand on both knees. And then swivel the left shin to parallel the right, walk the knees in. And then with or without the use of your hands, you're just gonna come back to sit with your left shin in front. Hands to thighs, eyes closed. Ripple up through the spine. And then the next time you exhale, left ear over towards left shoulder, create that rocking action. Chin kind of tracing the clavicle. Now we've already done this on the other side. So if you're feeling good with neck rolls and you want to start with the chest circles, you want to spend more time doing that, you have plenty of options. Right? And if you feel pretty complete with the chest rolls and the neck rolls, and you want to spend a couple extra moments in a spine rounded position or that cat cow action on the fingertips, please make this practice something that serves your physical, your outer layer, your thinking self, and most especially that emotional experience that you have, something that feeds the good thoughts. If you're not already in that folded forward position, make your way there, please. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. And the next time the spine is rounded, roll your way up to sit. Left knee into the sole of the right foot so you have that pinwheel shape. Walk your hands over to the right, come all the way off your left sits bone, cow spine, chest reaches forward. And then sits bone down, hands to the left, find that cat shape. This might feel very different side to side. Take a few more breaths. Organic movements, doesn't have to look just like mine. There's that invitation to add the side stretch. So right hand down, left arm will reach overhead. And if you're doing that on one side, do make sure you're doing it on both sides. Hands to heart center when you're ready to pop up on the knees. Oh. Right shin swivels to parallel with the left, and then adjust the knees as needed. Bring the hands down. You're in tabletop position. Get out Any sticky spots. Just super simple cat pose, cow pose. Jess, I'm right there with you, peeling off a layer. It doesn't matter to me if your toes are tucked or untucked. Sometimes I like to shift my seat towards my heels and like toggle the heels in. I get a nice Achilles and calf stretch there. Great. Find a neutral spine, please, and thread the needle. Right arm reaches towards the left. Come down onto your right shoulder. Come down onto your right cheek. And then for me, I always like to walk my left fingertips forward first and really let the outer part of my left arm drape down. It's like half of an anahatasana arm for me. And then for today, another invitation will be to reach the left arm all the way up behind the low back. Find your right hip or your sacrum, and then shift your hips a little bit to the right. Oh, it changes what's happening for me in my right shoulder. And think about stacking left shoulder on top of right shoulder. It won't happen, of course, but that's the action. So feel the rotation in your middle spine. Take a big breath in. Oh, let it go. Left hand to the mat. Push yourself up, right hand to the mat. Look forward, step your left foot, please, between your hands. And then round your spine up, hands to hips for a moment. Feel your hips square. Hug inner thighs towards the midline. And bring your right hand to the outside of your left thigh. Wrap your left hand behind your low back, just like we did a moment ago. Feel your hips shift a little bit into your left hand. And then peel open, like your left shoulder could come in line with your right shoulder. As you're doing that, push your left knee into your right hand. Breathe in to lift up through the crown of your head. Exhale to twist a little deeper. Inhale to unwind, hands at your sides, arms to the sky. As you exhale, bend your elbows, bring your elbows down towards your side body. Lift your chest, squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you as you inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, elbows down at your sides, like you're making the letter W. Inhale, like you're making the letter Y. Exhale, elbows down at your sides. Reach the backs of your hands back, the chest forward. And then as you exhale, tilt forward, hands to the mat. Left leg reaches straight back behind you, like a one-legged tabletop. Point the toes here, please, and then squeeze your inner thighs towards the midline. For me, it's really useful to put my right hand on my belly so I notice if I'm sinking here. For a count of 5, pulse your left leg up without letting your spine arch. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right hand down, left knee down. Let your hips just shift a little bit to the left. Just a little hip relief for a moment, feels good. And then left arm threads over to the right. If you want, you can walk your right fingertips forward. Find that half of an anahatasana. And right arm can circle up behind the low back. Find the outside of your left hip. Push your hips into your right hand or your hands on your sacrum, and you're just feeling your hips shift a little bit to the left. Let the right hand come down, push yourself back up to table. This time, right foot steps forward between the hands. Round your spine up to stand in this lunge position, hands to hips. Square yourself off. Left hand outside the right thigh, right hand reaches behind you. Feel your hips shift a little bit to the left as you peel your chest open. Push your right thigh into your left hand. Think about getting your right shoulder and your left shoulder in one longitudinal line on your mat. Unwind, hands at your sides, arms to the sky. And then 3 times, W shape to Y shape, W shape to Y shape. Last one, W shape. Stay here. Really reach the hands back, lift the heart up, and tilt forward, hands to the mat, frame your right foot. Right leg reaches straight back behind you. Again, I'd use my left hand here. Just keeps me honest with my ribs. So I know as I'm lifting my right leg, I'm not kind of like hollowing the low back. Point your toes, squeeze the thigh in towards the midline, and then 5 times. Pulse up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right knee down, left hand down. Anahatasana, walk your hands forward. Let your chest melt back and down, forehead to the mat. Feel your elbows bend ever so slightly so that the outer parts of the armpits can roll down. Two more breaths. Feel. Notice how your feelings inform your thoughts and your thoughts inform your feelings. And push down into your hands. Ripple yourself forward onto your belly. I always have to shift back here. Not a problem. Zipper your inner thighs in like you just did a moment ago in a one-legged position. Roll your shoulders up towards your ears and then slide them down your back. Let your forehead rest down if that's comfy for you. And then 5 times, keep the inner thighs squeezing in. Lift your legs for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Feel the legs working that much. Push into the hands, lift your chest for baby cobra. Lower your forehead to the mat. 2 more just like that. Inhale, lift your chest, shoulders active. Exhale, lower your forehead to the mat. Last one, inhale, legs strong, chest floats up. Exhale, meet me in downward facing dog. Please, if you'd like to pass through child's pose or table on your way there, always an option. From your downward facing dog, you can pedal out the heels. You can remain totally still aside from your breath. Feel a long line from the wrists to the shoulders to the hips. Cultivate this action of the tops of the feet and the shins moving closer to each other. And look up towards the top of your mat. And tiptoe, step, walk. Make your way to a forward fold at the top. Let your spine round, let your shoulders shrug. Shake and nod your head, release your jaw. And roll up to stand. Circle your arms to the sky. Take your left wrist with your right fingertips, lift up and over to the right. Come through center. Right wrist with left fingertips, lift up and over to the left. Come through center as you exhale, slip your hands behind you. Put your hands into like imaginary back pockets, squeeze your elbows together. Lift your chest to the sky. Use your hands to smooth the tailbone down. Put a little bend in the knees. Trace the backs of the legs to come back to your forward fold. Fingertips to the earth or to shins, find a flat back. Reach your chest forward. Slide the shoulder tips down towards the hips. As you exhale, soften the knees, plant your palms. Step back, step back to plank. Knees down or knees lifted. Shift forward, lower all the way to the belly. Untuck your toes. Strong legs. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, down dog. Look forward, walk or step. Find a halfway lift, please. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise all the way to stand. We'll do one more just like that. We'll meet in down dog. As you exhale, fold right back down. Inhale, look up halfway. For me, when I step, I try to alternate my feet. So this time I'm stepping my left foot back first. Inhale to shift forward. Exhale, chaturanga or to the belly. Inhale for your back bend. Shoulders back and down, chest sliding forward. And exhale to dog. Good, just breathe. Take a big breath in. Open mouth, sigh out. Look forward, step your right foot forward to your right thumb, please. Soften your left knee down. Left fingertips can stay down or left palm or block. We're taking a twist here. Inhale, right arm to the sky. So we took a twist at the beginning. Feel your hips shift a little to the left. Feel your right knee actively, like it's pushing into something, but it's not moving beyond the toes. Lift up through your right fingertips, breathe, and feel this collective effort. Last breath in, we're staying a little longer than feels comfy. And then right hand swims down, put it inside your right foot. Option here, you can keep your left leg just as it is, or you can kind of 90-degree it. Doesn't matter to me. Left fingertips to the sky, so there's that groin stretch. I know, Allison, this is among your favorites. I'm right there with you. So push your arm into your thigh and your thigh into your arm and lift up through the left fingertips. So this will inform our side angle pose. We'll be there in a moment. Just notice what you feel in your side body, that left side, and your right inner groin. Last breath in. As you exhale, circle your left hand down. If you need to spin your left shin back, go ahead. Knee down or knee lifted does not matter to me. 3 hamstring pulses. I'm keeping my hands inside my right foot. It gives me a little bit more space. You don't have to, or you can. So exhale to straighten the leg. Inhale to bend into the knee. Keep your hip crease spacious. Keep your breath deliberate. And then the next time you bend into your right knee, stay there. Right foot is somewhere towards the middle of the mat. Left foot will step wide of your left hand. So you're in a off-centered wide stance. Roll your way up to stand from here. Bring your hands to your hips. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. So figure 4. And let your hands come to your ankle and your knee and kind of sit down and apply that like Goldilocks amount of pressure, right? Not too much that you're like, ooh, and not too little that you're like, I feel nothing here. Good. Come back up to stand. Put your right foot right back where it was and then switch sides. So right knee bends a little bit, left ankle crosses over right thigh. Same thing, hand to ankle and knee. Good. Hands to hips, come to stand, left knee in towards your belly. Thread the left leg back, take a giant step behind you, come into a lunge position. Spin your left heel down, warrior 2 stance. Right away, right forearm to right thigh. Left arm reaches overhead. So recall a moment ago when we were with the knee down, how much stretch you felt in your right inner groin and how much opening you felt in your left side body, like your QL, and try to recreate that. Keep your shoulders soft, keep your jaw soft. Notice thoughts and feelings popping up here. Let them all have a home. And start to push your right leg straight. Reverse your triangle pose. And take a triangle. Right fingertips reach forward and down for your shin, your ankle, a block, maybe It reaches the floor. Mine does not. That's fine. Send your right sits bone towards your left heel. Oh, let your neck be unencumbered. Last breath here. Inhale, exhale. Put a bend in your right knee again. Come up to stand. Hands to hips. Turn your right toes in. Turn your left toes towards the back corner of the mat. And then bend your knee, your left knee, like a skandasana. Bend into the knee. Reach your hands down to frame your left foot. Keep your chest lifting. And then push your leg straight. Come right back up. Do that 2 more times. Bend into the knee. Let your hands frame your foot. If they don't touch, that's fine. Chest lifting is more important. Push up. Last one. Bend into the knee. Reach the hands down. Push into your left leg. Turn the left toes in. Forward fold. And then it might feel nice here to bend into the right knee and feel a stretch in the left leg. And then it might feel nice to do the same thing on the other side. Crawl your way back through center. Put your hands on either side of your right foot. Spin up onto the ball of the left foot. From here, right leg up and back to the sky. Down dog split. Bend your knee. Open your hip. Put a little bend in your left knee to track it over your second toe. And then as you exhale, coil your right knee towards your nose. Stack your shoulders over your wrists. Left knee can come down. This will be some core work here. Right leg shoots straight back behind you. Squeeze the inner thighs towards the midline. Point your toe. As you exhale, bend your elbows lower all the way to the belly. Right toes come down. Right top of the foot comes down. Left top of the foot comes down. Just for a cobra pose. Push up. Exhale, down dog. Feel the difference side to side. Right, this embodied imbalance. And look forward, please. We have a long second side. Left foot steps between the palms. Soften your right knee down. We start with a twist, left fingertips to the sky. Breathe. Keep the knee hugging in, keep the hips hugging in. Left fingertips reach up, up, up. Stay for one extra breath. Left hand down inside left foot. Your right shin can stay just as it is, or it can pivot. Right fingertips to the sky for that modified side angle expression. And then get active here. The arm pushes into the leg pushes into the arm. Last breath here. Inhale. Exhale, right hand down. Right toes come back behind you if they weren't already. And then right knee can stay down or it can lift. Does not matter to me. Take a few hamstring pulses. The next time you bend into your left knee, stay there. Step your right foot wide of your right hand. Mine's off the mat. And then roll your way up to stand. Hands to your hips for a moment. Right foot stays down. Left thigh crosses over right thigh, so like an eagle. Your toes can wrap behind the calf. We'll add the arms, extend the arms wide. Left elbow under right elbow. Backs of the hands, palms can touch. Lift your elbows up, plug your shoulders onto your back. Breathe. Sit a little lower. Try to move your knees like through each other. Just stay. And then release the arms to the hips. Untangle the legs. Left foot steps right back to where it was. Switch sides. So right thigh crosses over left thigh. Foot wraps behind the calf if that's available to you. Arms widen, right elbow hooks under left. Backs of the hands or palms come to touch. Elbows lift. Shoulders plug onto the back. Sit a little lower. Think about the knees moving through each other. Just stay. Sit a little lower. Last breath. Inhale. Stay for the exhale as you inhale. Come on up. Hands to hips. Thread your right leg back behind you like a lunge shape. And then it's warrior two stance. Right away, left forearm to left thigh. Right arm circles up and overhead. Just feel. Feel where you're doing too much. Feel where you're not doing enough. And just sit into the collective effort of feeling, of changing, of shifting. And come on up for a revolved triangle. Left fingertips reach forward, Trikonasana. Right fingertips up, neck where you feel no pain. So your gaze could be down. And then for me, I feel this the most when I think about my left sits bone moving towards my right heel. So that gives me a much different sensation behind the hamstring, or in the hamstring, I should say. Last breath. Bend into the left knee just to protect the leg. Come up. Hands to hips to just get settled here. Push your left leg straight. Turn the left toes in. Turn the right toes towards the back corner of the mat. And then bend into the knee. So the knee tracks right over the second toe. Reach your hands down. Keep your chest lifting. Push back up. Two more. One more. Right toes turn in, forward fold. Take what you need. I'm going to go for those inner groin stretches again. And crawl your way back to the top of the mat. Frame out your left foot. Ball of the right foot, heel up. Left leg up and back to the sky. Bend your knee, open your hip. Bend into the right knee to keep the knee track right over the second toe. And take an inhale. As you exhale, coil the left knee towards the nose. Right knee can always come down. Left leg shoots back, one-legged plank pose. Point the toes, squeeze the inner thighs towards the midline. Look forward, lower. Untuck both toes. Take a big baby cobra or cobra dog. Shoulders sliding back and down, elbows bent a little bit, inner hands heavy. Exhale, downward facing dog. Feel. Look forward, walk, step, or hop your way forward. Bring your feet towards the top of the mat. They can touch, they can be hips width distance, doesn't matter to me. Halfway lift from here. Exhale, fold. Inhale, all the way to stand, arms to the sky. As you exhale, reach both arms back behind you, bend into the knees like a skier's pose. Turn your palms down, feel how that opens the chest. Squeeze the arm bones together behind you. As you inhale, rise to stand, arms to the sky, maybe a little back bend. Exhale, bend into your knees, palms down, squeeze the shoulders. Inhale, rise to stand, arms to the sky, maybe a little back bend. Two more just like that. Last one. Stay here. Feel yourself making more space in your hip creases. So belly in. Squeeze the arms together. Keep the knees bent. Send the arms to the sky. It's like chair pose. Reach your thumbs back. Point your ring fingers up. Breathe in. Exhale, fold forward. Straighten the legs. Big sigh out. Halfway lift, inhale. Plant your palms, step back, plank pose. Feel your inner thighs hug towards the midline. Knees can absolutely lower as you exhale, slowly lower all the way to the ground. Untuck your toes, make a pillow for your head with your hands. You can rest a cheek, just breathe. Feel your heart beating. If you're resting a cheek, just rest the other cheek and contemplate this collective experience that we're having as human beings, and the very individualized experience that we're having just depending on our social location. How our truth is just not universal. Just be aware. Okay, turn your head back through center, please. We're going to take a thigh stretch. You have the option to keep your left hand as a pillow. As always, you can turn things up a notch or take them down a notch. Left forearm to the ground if you're going to want up a notch, okay? No right or wrong. So I'm going to keep my left hand down actually, and bend the right knee. Keep the inner thighs squeezing in. We've done that a couple times. Reach your right hand back for your right foot, and then on purpose, roll back onto your right frontal hip point. Squeeze gently your heel towards your sits bone. Roll your shoulder onto your back. Breathe for 3. Breathe for 2. Breathe for 1. As you release your right foot, send your right arm out wide. Bend at the elbow without moving the line from the elbow to the shoulder. Look over to the left. Bring your left hand underneath your left shoulder. Roll over onto your right side and step your left foot behind you. Oh. So we don't normally do this pec stretch in this way, but I wanted you to feel it for a moment. If you prefer the knees bent variation, go ahead and take that for the last few breaths. We'll be here. Last 2. Last 1. Untangle yourself, come back to your belly. Just pause, feel for a moment the difference side to side. We'll do both those shapes on the left side. So option to keep your right hand like a pillow, option to prop up on your right forearm. Bend into your left knee, reach back for your left foot. Squeeze the inner thighs towards the midline. And notice if you're really avoiding that left front side body or the front left. Roll your shoulder onto your back so your elbow's pointing a little bit more up towards the sky. And keep the inner thighs squeezing towards midline. And stay here for another 3. Another 2. Another 1. Gently release the left foot. Send your left arm out wide. And then bend just at the elbow so you have a 90-degree angle. Right hand under right shoulder. Push onto your left side body. Right foot steps behind you. Oh. You've done it for a moment. You've checked it out, right? So if this is not the variation that serves you most, you can bend the knees and take the familiar variation that we normally do in this class. Last breath. Come back through center. Lie down on your forehead. Slip your hands behind you, palms at your sides. Tent up on fingertips. Bend your elbows a little bit like you're sliding your hands up towards your hips. And then with bent elbows, roll your shoulders onto your back. Push into fingertips, into toe tips. Lift your chest. And breathe. Squeeze the inner thighs in. Keep the chin tucking in towards the notch of the throat. And then keep your upper arms where they are. Straighten at the elbows to reach your fingertips back toward your feet. And then hug the arm bones towards each other like we did in that modified chair shape. Back of the neck stays long. Breath stays full. Last breath in. Lift up, 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 up. Exhale, settle everything down. Rest the cheek. Turn your head back through center. Tent up on fingertips. Bend the elbows to slide the hands up towards hips. Roll the shoulders onto the back. Zipper the inner thighs in towards midline. Point the toes. Lift the legs. Lift the chest. Reach through the toe tips. Reach through the crown of the head. Option to straighten the elbows, just like you did a moment ago. Hug the arm bones in and in. Breathe. Notice if you're using one leg more than the other. Last breath in, full effort. I know it's so hard. Exhale, lower down, rest the other cheek. We'll do one more. Head through center. Tent up on fingertips, bend the elbows. Drag the fingertips towards hips. Bend at the knees this time. And then notice how your pelvis shifts up. On purpose, pin the pubic bone back down. Push into the, push up on the feet. Keep the pubic bone down. Lift your chest. Oh, this one's harder. Now you can unbend at the elbows, reach your hands back toward your feet. You don't have to take hold. If you love that variation, don't let me stop you. So this is informative for me because I can feel my thighs on the ground. My right thigh has so much more space. So I have to really work hard to lift my left foot up, up, up. Chest lifts, breath is long, smooth. Last breath in. Exhale, let it all go. Hands underneath the shoulders. Push your way up to just table. Walk the knees under the hips and take cat and cow. Oh. Stay here for as long as you like. Make your way onto your back when you feel complete with that. So I haven't taught in the morning in so long. What I was thinking is nice about right now is we can play with back bends. So we've done a lot to strengthen the back body, lengthen the front body. Don't feel obligated. Bring a block with you. If restful bridge feels like where you are this evening and this morning, I just said this morning, push into your feet, slide the block underneath your sacrum, and then stay right there, right? You can play with legs up the wall. You can play with lengthening one leg at a time. Do that. If not, we'll do a couple active bridges and maybe even a wheel. Now, that's my order. Back bends do not come easily to me. I know some of you are much more back bendy. If you feel ready right now to take 3 safe wheel poses, I'm also not here to stop you. From your back, if you're taking an active bridge, feet just underneath the knees. And then feel that nice natural arch in your low back. push down into the whole foot. So for you, it might be different if you tend to drop the weight to the inner foot or the outer foot. Do make sure that the weight is evenly distributed. Push down into your feet, lift your hips. Bend your elbows, push into the upper arms so you can work the shoulders underneath you. Use the breath out to push more into the feet, lift the hips higher to the sky. So there's a little bit of effort here. It's not passive. Use the inhale to come out of it a little bit. These dynamic movements help me. My body is stiff. One more breath in and out. Inhale, come out a little bit. And exhale, push into the whole foot. Lift your hips all the way to the sky. And then one vertebrae at a time, come all the way down. If you're in restful bridge with a block, just stay. Hand to belly and heart. If you just came out of active bridge, feet wide, knees knock in. I probably don't need to tell any of you, but please do avoid hugging your knees to your chest after something really active in a back bend. It's just that extreme of back bend to forward fold can send the back into spasm. Okay, bridge pose round 2. If you're ready for wheel and you have a safe practice, you know what to do. Feet under the knees again. Push down into the whole foot, lift your hips up, bend your elbows, work the shoulders underneath you. Now this time, we practiced hugging the inner thighs in towards the midline quite a bit. So notice if the knees want to splay out, and then on purpose, bring them in. Once you do that, fire up through the glutes to lift your hips even higher to the sky. This time, if it makes sense for you to extend the arms, take the outer edge of your mat, or interlace the fingers beneath you, go ahead and do that. Always options, whatever works in your body. If you're in a pretty stable feeling bridge pose, push into the back of the head to feel a little bit more opening through the front of the throat. And stay for 3, 2, 1. Release the hands. Lower back down onto your back, hand to belly, hand to heart, feet wide, knees in. Does anyone have any questions, anything not feeling right for them before we move into this final back bend? You can try to troubleshoot if you have any questions. If not, we'll just go for it. Okay, good. I see some restorative bridges and I see no questions. So for wheel pose, you can repeat bridge. That's always an option. You can stick a block under your sacrum. If you're going for wheel, hands above your shoulders, frame your ears, and then widen your hands a little bit. We did do a lot with the shoulders today, but you always have that invitation to give yourself more space. And then push into the feet, lift your hips. Once your hips are lifted, you can come onto the crown of your head. Just feel what that's like. Realign the toes, hug the elbows in, and then when it feels okay, push into your hands, push into your feet. Wheel pose. Tuck your chin to your chest to come out. Stay for as long as this feels safe and nurturing. And then when you've had enough, again, chin to chest, roll yourself down, hand to belly, hand to heart. If you're on a block, you can stay just as you are. We're going to do a final little twist just to kind of neutralize the spine. If you'd like to join us, you're welcome. You're invited. Arms widen to a T, please. Drop both of your knees over to the left. Let your right shoulder heavy onto the mat. Let your breath quiet. and let your thinking mind start to turn off, right? This is the beautiful nectar of the yoga practice that the brain sometimes has a glimpse of its off switch. We are able to access what lies beneath the head space, right? Into the throat space, into the heart space. With as little effort as possible, pick your knees up, drop them over to the right. Come through center with the knees. Take a final forward fold. So you don't have to come to sit to take a forward fold. You can absolutely just hug your knees into your back. It's the action of hip flexion. Um, if on your back's not cutting it and you have an interest in sitting up, take any forward fold that your body loves. It could be happy baby, could be like a halasana shape. Transition to rest, whatever that looks like for you this morning. Sometimes um, we I make it sound like stillness is the only way to rest. It's not true. Rest is a neurological state of mind. It's not a physiological archetype. So if nodding the head from side to side feels like it's bringing you some kind of rest, it doesn't have to be that. Anything that's right, anything that lets you feel a total absence of effort is rest. And when you arrive in that place, take a couple on purpose, really deep breaths in. And right, I use this word all the time, like be dramatic. Big exhales on the way out. For me, it kind of just acts as like a like what not to do moment. So you have these big dramatic breaths in and out, and then an informative clue on how to do a lot less than that as you rest. You don't have to move. You don't have to do anything but what you're already doing right now. As your awareness comes back, just take a moment to reflect on the range of feelings that you had throughout class. For me, it was um, relief, release. It was effort, struggle, discomfort, joy, openness, spaciousness, anxiety, all kind, this whole range, right? And there's a possibility that there's a thread among us, right? That we all had a similar range of emotions, whether it was at the same times, I don't know, but that's kind of irrelevant. I'm going to circle back to Michelle Johnson's book, Skill in Action, and leave you with her section called Our Call to Action before we sit up and end together. She says, we are living in a space where our lives depend on our shared humanity. White supremacy and capitalism are coming for all of us. If we don't begin to consider how our thoughts, words, and actions impact the collective good, we will perish. If we don't begin to work collectively and in solidarity with one another, we will perish. The journey of discovering that our dharma is connected to the greater good is challenging, and we must do it anyway. We must skillfully take collective and radical action to create a world that allows all of us to breathe, be, live, be seen, and validated. That's been sitting with me for days, and I invite you to carry that with you as you make your way up to a seated position. And let's gather our hands together in front of our hearts. And do please bow your chin into your chest. And I know some of you quite well from conversations we've had from following your virtual lives. And I know that we're all doing so much. And I feel like I need to qualify that some of this work is new to me, and I'm using it as my inspiration and sharing it with you um, with just an intention that it will somehow land or clarify as it's doing for me. And as you bow your chin to your chest, I bow wholeheartedly to you for showing up here time after time and creating what I know is a higher collective consciousness. I thank you. I see you from the bottom of my heart. Namaste. Thank you, friends.
Thank you,